Knowing I had just but a few days to the Lake Ellis drive, I decided to spend a few days testing and trying out this car, putting it in different challenging terrains and understanding its ups and downs. Lake Ellis isn't a walk in the park, especially for a 1300cc car. I knew I needed power and desperately. After a number of trials, I realized the car was way underpowered, even for a 1300cc. But honestly, what do you expect from a 1980s car? When you look at this car, you realize it's older than most of you. But age is just a number as long as the car is mechanically sound. Just a day to the drive, it failed to start in the morning, and that sent me panicking. You see, Lake Ellis is 20 kilometers deep into the forest and mountains away from civilization with no phone network. I would not want to risk any breakdowns, considering the fact that my goal was to camp there overnight. From one end to the other, all you see are rolling mountains. Even during the day, you feel a heavy sense of loneliness. You can only imagine how lonely it gets at night. When camping, it's very important to have your car ready to start just in case something happens and you have to leave immediately. I'm a mechanic, and though I barely fix such old cars, I believe any car problem can be solved via elimination method. Unlike modern cars where you can simply use a diagnosis machine to pinpoint issues, in old cars we heavily use the elimination method until we get to the exact issue. So, what could possibly cause a hard start? Fuel check. Battery was okay and the starter was kicking in perfectly. So what? I narrowed the culprit to two things: carburetor or spark plugs. Yes, if the carburetor is wrongly set or has a blockage on the filter, hard starts are common as fuel isn't reaching the combustion chambers. I checked that and it was okay. Now we had the spark plugs. And oh mama, there was the source of all my problems. They were totally wasted. I quickly changed them, tried cleaning the air filter as I couldn't get another one in our small town, and voila, my troubles were gone. She was kicking in quick and power was added. Doing 60 at my best, I held patiently, overtaking only cars that were moving in the opposite direction. And when my time came to shine, I did that overtaking full of pride. I'll be lying if I said the car was a letdown. My concern on its performance was solely on off-road. Black spot signs always sends chills down my spine. No one wants to be a statistics. I held on to the prayers Mama said that morning.
Wa Jehova Ngai ithe witũ ndagũthaitha wĩtĩkĩre bũrũri na Jehova Ngai ona activity ciothe igũrũ ya mũthamaki wa muoyo ndagũthaitha wĩtĩkĩre kũmatongoria ona kũmauma thutha na kũmauma mbere Jehova no matũmĩre gũtwara kwĩmenyia na mwena na mwena Jehova na rĩtwa rĩaku Jehova Ngai ithe witũ magĩgacoka gĩikaro gĩkĩ marĩa nyuma mwathani tũgatĩa rĩtwa rĩaku rĩngĩ na tũkwambararia na tũcokerie ngatho mũthamaki mwega akiuga ndamarathima Ngai ithe witũ na kĩrathimo kĩmũciari Give them safety and mercies, Jehovah.
I should have spent the night up in the mountains, but here I was headed to my hotel room at Silva, Montana. A very beautiful hotel right next to Lake Ellis entrance. Here's what happened. Actually, when I got to the KWS gate, they insisted that I needed a guide to spend the night. I felt a bit uncomfortable spending the night alone, 20 kilometers deep into the forest with a stranger. I don't mean to say I don't trust the guards. I just felt uneasy. That's all. And so I turned around to Silva, Montana. So today is the second day and I am heading off to Lake Ellis. And just like I said, yesterday I was not able to go up, and that's because the KWS office told me that I need to have a guard accompany me as I go to spend the night. Bearing in mind that Lake Ellis is 22 kilometers away from civilization, and I'm all there taking the forest with a stranger, it quite felt uneasy for me. So I decided, let me just wait until the next day, and that is today, so that I can just go during the day trip, whereby I won't need a guide accompanying me. Nevertheless, I understand why they do that, because they're checking out for the security of the hikers who want to experience the mountain adventure. Anyhow, let's see what the day awaits. Morning came and there was the terrain to beat. It wasn't about the journey but the experience. As I drove up the now graded road, my excitement faded. I anticipated challenges. I wanted to feel like I had conquered, but the now graded road was so easy for any car and any unexperienced driver to beat. Once upon a time, Lake Ellis was the go-to off-road trail for anyone who was craving off-roading experience. I'm telling you from experience. Back in 2021, when I came here with my Land Cruiser 3000cc turbocharged, I encountered quite a challenge. You see, this road you're seeing right now, all graded and all smoothed out, it was a swamp. It was an obstacle after another. And for we off-road enthusiasts, the whole journey, the whole thrill is in overcoming an obstacle, overcoming another one, getting the mud, enjoying it and everything. Nevertheless, the road is really nice. Even a Nauris, a BMW would make it to Lake Ellis. Understand me, I'm not against BMW fans getting to Lake Ellis, but anyone who thrives and who thrills in the whole off-roading experience, there's something that's missing. And honestly, as of now, I feel disappointed. But one thing that's giving me at least it's encouraging me, that the views don't change. I mean, the mountains never move, so the views will always be there. But nevertheless, I'm hoping that as I progress upwards towards the mountains, I'll get to have something more challenging, and at least my disappointment will be tilted down a notch. Nevertheless, let's see what awaits ahead. Hey, this guy. All cars have a way of telling you that they are still old. That's because previously I had an issue with hard start in this vehicle. It would crank but it wouldn't start. What I did is I changed the spark plugs. More to that, I also cleaned the air filter. After cleaning the air filter, I also checked into the carburetor. That issue was resolved, but then again today morning, the issue popped back again. And from what I can tell, it's an issue of the starter misaligning with the flying wheel. So after this trip, what I'm going to do is I'll have to work on this beauty all over again. And let me tell you the advantage of being a mechanic and working on your own cars. You work at them on your own pace without having any pressure from anyone. But nevertheless, all cars are fun to drive. So it seems like I'm lost again. And why do I say again? That's because the first time I came here in 2021, I found myself in the same exact position, which is the Chogoria roadhead. Up ahead there's a junction I should have taken, and that's the junction that leads to Lake Ellis. I now understand why the office always insists on you coming with a guide when you're coming to spend the night here. But nevertheless, we're just going to turn around and take the right route. So yeah, let's do this. So now we are retracing our steps back to where we lost the way. And nevertheless, after we get to the junction, we're going to take up Lake Ellis. And I do believe that right after that junction, that's where we're going to face the infamous Magnet Hill. I know it's quite a challenge. Let's see if my whole trail will be affirmed and if I will get to experience the off-road trail. Alright? Let's go and get this done. I've just realized there's someone who's hitchhiking on my car. I've actually seen it from the side mirror, and true to it, there is a hiker who's getting a ride from the rear back of my vehicle. When you're driving these roads, there's one thing I've come to embrace and actually appreciate so much, and that's by the fact that you are going by your own pace. You know, most times in life, you're always being rushed by situations, being rushed by responsibilities, being rushed by expectations. But when you're here, it's you with nature, going by your own pace. And let me tell you something about nature. It's very much allowing. It lets you be, it lets you just be in the moment, live in the moment, and just be one with it. And that's not something people from the city or someone who lives in the city life can attest to. So if you want that time when you just want to let go, you know, that time I'm freedom is coming, hey, this is a place to come to. When you just want to say, I want to let go and just, even though it's just for a day, you know, you can't always take a break forever. But for that single day, for those few hours, it's really rewarding, and I will tell you, it's completely worth it. Take it from me. And there goes our hiker. I didn't even see how he was able to hit a ride on the vehicle. But nevertheless, we are here at the junction where we lost our way. So what you're going to do is now let's progress in the right direction and see what exactly waits ahead. Let's do this. I think it's in the human nature to conquer for ego or something. Views were absolutely stunning, but hey, I wasn't there for the views this time round. My whole goal was to feel like a conqueror. I drove up the mountains. My mind was far into the unconquered terrains high in the mountains. Maybe I should start hiking. I need to find something that feeds my soul and end the emptiness and void. What if I get to Lake Ellis and still feel empty? That would be scary. My only hope lay in sight, the Magnet Hill. And at its foot was its first victim, a Land Rover that couldn't make it. My face brightened. Get out of the car and record this, I say to my cameraman. I needed evidence of me beating the Magnet Hill. To my disappointment, I didn't even have to engage the follow gear. My little Suzuki chewed the hill like I am. I had done it. I had conquered emptiness on that trail. So here we are at Lake Ellis, and honestly, it's a beautiful thing. You know, the people who argue out that this lake should be given a more local name, and in my opinion, I agree with them on that. At least a local name makes us resonate so well with it, and at least make it more indigenous to this place. Finally, I'm here at Lake Ellis. I've finally attained the final destination. So what next? What next? Should I now proceed to Lake Rutundu, or is it Lake Mickelson? No, the one thing I've learned that is so much ingrained in human nature is that after conquering one challenge, you feel it's not enough. You want to conquer something bigger, something bolder, something greater. And after you conquer it, the urge is still there. So all you do, you're always in the thrill of exploration without taking a minute to soak in, without taking a minute to just refresh, to just appreciate what lies right in front of your eyes. You get to such a place, you're like, there has to be another lake beyond these boundaries. You push yourself, you get there. When you get there, there's another lake. Take for instance, you've bought a vehicle. You've got a small vehicle, it's serving you right. Then you feel, no, this vehicle is not good enough. I need something bigger. You go for the bigger vehicle. After that, you're like, no, there's a better and a bigger one. You go for it. Just imagine if you would learn to be contented, if you would learn to be appreciative, if you would learn to just take a minute, soak it in, appreciate, breathe in, breathe out, and be like, wow, I'm glad to have made it here. Celebrating the small victories, because it's not about the bigger victories. It's always being grateful in the process of the journey, in each and every single step. You're always appreciative. Be contented. That's the whole thing about life. When you learn to be contented, when you learn to celebrate the small glories, the small wins, you'll have an easier life. I would really have wanted to stay here much longer and enjoy the views. But nevertheless, I've got some friends of mine who are waiting for me on the other side of the mountain. So yeah, let's go and get them. It was time to go back and get my friends. And again, fear crept in. Will I fake smiles and laughter? What if I don't fit in? What if I feel alone in a huge group of people? Could it be that I'll have to retreat in fear? This was the third time I was hanging out with a group of people and still had the very same fears I felt the first time. I realized I don't have to conquer trails. It's my fears, uncertainty, and feelings of not belonging that I have to defeat first. See you all on the next one.